Hello everybody, welcome back to Cooking with Grandma, and today I have a dessert recipe for you. It's carrot cake bars. Now if anybody has ever made carrot cake, you know how yummy it is, how good it is, but you also know how time consuming and how many ingredients and how long it takes to bake. This is going to be, like, the prep is 15 minutes, the cook time is 25, so rather than an hour. So I'm going to show you a picture of what it looks like in the recipe. That's what we're talking about right there. Now this recipe is from easypeasydesserts.com. I get emails from like copycat recipes, and this was one of them that was on it. So I thought, oh, I'm going to try it because I love carrot cake. We all love it. And I just want to see how much easier it is. So I've got my oven preheated. I've got my 9x13 pan greased and ready to go. So now we have to combine all the dry ingredients: flour, sugar, baking powder, baking soda, cinnamon, and salt. So we need 1 1/4 cups of flour. There we go. I've already pre-measured everything just to make it a lot quicker. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. There we go. In 3/4 of a cup of sugar. That goes in. 1 teaspoon of baking powder. It takes both baking powder and baking soda. So 1 teaspoon baking powder. And 1/2 of a teaspoon of baking soda. I haven't made carrot cake in a long time, mainly just because it's so, it takes so much time to put it all together. I mean, as delicious as it is, it's just kind of one of those things you have to kind of prepare for and not get interrupted for a while. This is all the same ingredients, but just less of them. So, and you bake it in a 9x12 pan instead of the round bundt pan, and it only takes 25 minutes rather than an hour. So it makes it so much difference. So now we need 1/4 teaspoon of salt. That goes in. Alright. It is one of those recipes where you need more than one bowl. You need to have one bowl for the dry ingredients, one bowl for your wet, and you need a mixer for this. I suppose you could mix it by hand, but because this is the first time of me making this recipe, I'm going to go ahead and do it just like the recipe says. So I've got all my dry ingredients mixed together, and now we're going to do in the other bowl, we're going to add the egg, milk, oil, vanilla, and we're going to mix that all up till it's, well, that's what you use the mixer for. Okay. Alright, so we're going to put this aside for a minute. And in this bowl, we're going to put all of our wet ingredients except the carrots. We're going to need 1 large egg. There's a shell in there. You don't want the shell, you just want the egg. Just take that out of there. And we need 3/4 of a cup of vegetable oil. That's in. And 1/2 of a cup of milk. It does call for buttermilk. I'm just using regular milk. You can make buttermilk by putting a couple of tablespoons of vinegar in your milk, and that'll make it buttermilk. But when it calls for buttermilk, plain milk is fine. You can just go ahead and use plain milk. So we need 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. There we go. And yeah, that's it. So we need the egg, oil, milk, vanilla. Yep, and now we're going to use a hand mixer on medium speed until it's fully combined. It's going to take like 30 seconds. It's not going to take long. There we go. We have to slowly add the dry ingredients, mix on low and then scrape it from time to time. So I'm going to turn that right down. And actually I'm going to turn that right off because it's kind of loud. And I think it's going to be alright just to stir it. I'm going to not use the mixer. It's too loud, and I think I can do it like this just as easy. I'm not going to put all the flour, the dry ingredients in at once. I'm going to put a little at a time. You said to slowly add them. I mean, the mixer is going to prevent like any lumps or whatever, but if you give it a good stir, you're good. And even after it's all incorporated, you can go ahead and mix it just a little bit to make sure it's nice and smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. A little more going in there. And it's mixing just fine. It's nice and creamy and smooth. I mean, you can use a mixer, obviously this person did, but it's working all right without it. So I'm just going to keep going. I did dirty my mixer, mix the beaters, just because I thought I needed it, but that's all right. Next time I make this, I'll know I don't have to. So you mix that so it's nice. You see how nice and creamy that is. That's what you want. Nice, creamy, no lumps of flour. And you stir it, go underneath, make sure you've got all your dry ingredients incorporated. It's creamy, it's delicious looking. So now we're going to put in the carrots and the raisins. It also calls for walnuts, which I do not have. And I've made carrot cake 1,000 times, and I've never ever put walnuts in it. I have occasionally put raisins in if I have them. I happen to have them on stock, so I will add the raisins. But those both are an optional ingredient. So, I mean, look at how quick this is. And the prep time, it probably took me longest just to grate the carrots. I only have baby carrots, so they took a little longer to grate than, like if I would have had full carrots, it would have taken one, and it would have taken me like 2 minutes to do it. But because I had to grate like 20 of them, it took a little bit longer. But other than that, it's basically just like the recipe says. So we add all that, and now we're going to put it in the baking dish, bake for 25 minutes, and then we're going to make our cream cheese frosting. 25 minutes or until a toothpick comes out clean. I'll put that up closer, you can see how nice that looks. And I have my pan greased really well so it won't stick. All that out of there. When my kids were little, they'd always want to lick the spoon and lick the bowl, no matter what I was baking. Cookies, cakes, anything like this. And there are some people out there that tell you, don't let your kids lick the bowl, it's got raw eggs in it. Well, I grew up licking the batters and the wooden spoons. We all took turns doing that. My kids did, and nothing ever affected us. It's mixed in with all your other ingredients. I mean, you wouldn't, people do, there's fighters and stuff, they literally drink raw eggs. They swallow them down. I mean, it's not a good idea because of the bacteria, but it's not going to hurt your kids. Let them lick the spoon. There you go. Okay, so we're going to put this in the oven for 20 minutes. And I'll meet you back here and show you what it looks like. Okay, so it's been 25 minutes and the carrot cake is done. I'm going to let it cool before you have to let it cool before you put the frosting on. I did cut a piece out so you can see. You can see the raisins, you can see all the carrots in there. And I cut this out. I was going to try to lift the whole thing out on a board to let it cool quicker and frost it, but it's not stuck, but it's very soft and was going to break. So I cut one piece so I can cut, that'll cool real quick while we're making the frosting, and then I can show you what it looks like with frosting. Alright, so you need a half a cup of butter, and I might have to use my mixer for this. I have it ready just in case, because you don't want any lumps. Now, this recipe, cream cheese frosting, is a little different, because normally I would use powdered sugar, icing sugar, but this one doesn't call for it. It calls for half a cup of butter, half a cup of cream cheese, vanilla, regular sugar, and whipping cream is optional. I'm not putting whipping cream in. Don't have it, not going to buy it. So there's my half a cup of cream cheese. And you want it to be softened. You know, I just took it out of the fridge a little bit ago to soften it up. So I might have to use the mixer if I can't get it broken up enough and creamy and blended with the butter. I mean, it's working, but I may just go ahead and use the mixer for a minute. So to that, you whip the butter until it's nice and fluffy. Then you add the cream cheese. So I'm going to use my mixer just for a minute just to get that soft. So sorry for the noise, but it'll only take a second. You want it nice and fluffy and nice and creamy. Keep scraping down the sides of your bowl so it all gets incorporated. One thing with the hand mixer is you can take it and go all the way around. So it's a lot easier than a stand mixer because it gets you can move it all the way around. Okay. So that's all nice and creamy and soft and all mixed in there good. Got all the big chunks out. And then we're going to add in the vanilla, which was 1 tablespoon of vanilla. That's a lot of vanilla. Okay, so 1 tablespoon. And I'm going to mix this in. Just going to use the wooden spoon now that everything is creamy. You may not need the beaters. I'll see what happens when I put the sugar in. It still has a few lumps, so I probably will use the mixer again when I add the sugar because it's still got little lumps, and you don't want any lumps. You want it perfectly creamy. So then it's 1½ cups of granulated sugar. I had to read that twice because I thought for sure you needed powdered sugar. All the recipes I've ever made was with powdered sugar. So now we add the sugar and we mix it, beat it until it is completely dissolved. So in goes the sugar. So I am going to just give it a stir just because when you put the mixer in and something dry, it'll fly all over the place. But I'm definitely going to be using the mixer for this because it's, maybe not, wait a minute. It is coming together very nicely actually. Okay, I may not need that mixer again. Look at that. See, there's always, you gotta take a nice wooden spoon and give it a good hard stir. Use your arm muscles. There you go. My mother used to say, put some elbow grease into it. And that's what you're doing. That is perfectly creamy. That is very, very smooth. There's no chunks. There's no big lumps of cream cheese or butter. So we don't need it is a little thinner than I would like it, but that's what the recipe called for. With the powdered sugar, you can add it so it doesn't get too, so it, it's a little bit thicker. So let's just try it. This piece is cool enough, so it should spread on very, very easily. Oh yeah, for sure. So we're going to put a nice, big, thick layer of cream cheese frosting. Now in their recipe, again, it called for walnuts in the batter and on top. I don't have walnuts, and I'm not going to use the walnuts. So we're just going to nice, generous frosting on there. And you can, take your knife and just swirl it like this and pretty it up a little bit. You don't have to leave it just flat. You can just go like that and make little swirls in it. Kind of jazz it up. So there you go. That is our recipe for today. Cream cheese bars, carrot cake bars with cream cheese filling. And it looks pretty good. It doesn't look exactly like the picture because I didn't use the walnuts. Excuse me. But there's the picture of what theirs is. And it's pretty close without, excuse me, without the walnuts. So that's what's for dessert today. Carrot cake bars. I keep wanting to say cream cheese bars. Carrot cake bars with cream cheese frosting. Easy peasy. It took about an hour from start to finish. like 20 minutes or so to prep, 25 minutes to bake, and then to let it cool and make your frosting. So there you go. Leave a comment below on what you think about this recipe. If you try it, let me know how it works out for you. And if there's anything that you would like to see me make in the future, either sweet or meals, savory, any kind of dinner, lunch, whatever, leave it in the comments below. Be sure to hit the like button. Ring the bell when you know I'm back in my kitchen again. And everybody stay safe and have a good day. Bye now.